Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Lynn Vocational Technical Alumni Association. Welcome you all to our 2014 Lynn Trade, Lynn Tech Hall of Fame Banquet. Tonight we will be inducting 10 very deserving members of the Lynn Tech community, and this should be a fantastic evening. My name is Rick Stobbard. I'm a member of the Lynn Tech Alumni Association Board of Directors. I'm also a past inductee into the Hall of Fame, and I'm proud to be your Master of Ceremonies for tonight's event. On behalf of the Lynn Tech staff, I'd like to invite up Assistant Director Robert Bontempo to extend the greetings from Principal Diane Paradis.
On behalf of the Lynn faculty, staff, and student body, I would like to thank the Alumni Association for its continued commitment and generosity toward improving the quality of education and overall school experiences for our students. The association's most current endeavor involves a combined effort with city officials and the school department to renovate our weight and exercise room and to promote a larger capital expenditures needed in what was recently described as an old and tired field house. Without influences beyond the physical walls of the school, such as the Alumni Association, change is often marginal at best. The most recent example of major change through outside influence is Worcester Vocational Tech. Through a combined effort of political and community leaders, business leaders, school leaders, and other vested associations, Worcester Tech was transformed from what was often referred to as a dumping ground to a school that was nationally showcased and chosen by the President of the United States as the one high school commemorative address that he would give last year. While school administration and staff did their part to facilitate change, such a turnaround would never have been possible without the combined efforts of an entire community. In that light, I would like to make an appeal to you on behalf of the school, to the people who care deeply about the future success of LVTI and its students. I am asking that you become an active member of one of our advisory boards. Many of our vocational programs are in need of outside partners who have current influence and local business connections within the community. Active advisory members also offer recommendations and insight to employer needs and make outside connections that can open career opportunities for our students as they transition from school to work. If you are not currently an advisory board, consider adopting one of our 16 programs. If you are already serving on one of our boards, I ask that you reach out and bring someone with you who you feel could help foster success within that program to the next meeting. Lynn Tech gets students as acorns and turns them into seedlings. Your involvement is what can turn them into the oaks of success that we celebrate tonight. Congratulations to all of the inductees and have a wonderful evening.
I would now like to bring up to offer the welcome on behalf of the Lynn Vocational Technical Alumni Association, former Lynn Tech Director, Mr. James Ridley.
First of all, I want to remind everyone that when you have a trade, you have it. That's a saying that started before I went to the old Lynn Trade School. I graduated in 1970. But it was a saying that I tried to promote when I was there, and I continue to promote it, because even a lot of us have not followed our trade, but we follow the things that were incorporated by our instructors and our shop teachers and our class teachers while we were at the Trade Tech School. On behalf of the Lynn Vocational Technical Alumni Association, I'd like to congratulate, first of all the tonight's inductees and all their families. A round of applause. And a special shout out to our board, Jim Ward, the president. Paul Crowley, who couldn't make it tonight, our treasurer. Diana Badger. Where's Diana? Diana, stand up for a minute. Diana is not only our secretary, but Diana is the glue that makes us run. Thank you very much, Diana, for all you do. And also, I would like to recognize the charter members. Mike Alacunas. Where's Mike? Ron Beckett, who couldn't make it tonight. Also, Judy Josephs. Al Malagriffa. Where's Mal? A little story about Mal, you know, when I was a student at the old trade school, I'd go by Mal's shop and he'd always come out and he'd give me a headlock and he'd give me a noogie. But not only that, he did it like 30 years later. He'd see me, he'd give me a headlock and give me a noogie. Mal, I already graduated from college. I don't need any more noogies. And also, and one more charter member I found out tonight was Rick Starbuck. Again, I want to thank you for coming. Let's enjoy ourselves. And again, congratulations to all the inductees.
Thank you very much, Jim. I also send the greetings, as Jim said. Paul Crowley, who usually does the emceeing at the Hall of Fames, couldn't be here tonight as he had another event, so he does send his greetings. I hope I can move it along a little faster than Paul does. You know, usually MCs come up, they have some kind of little shtick, either sing, dance. I don't sing, I don't dance. I forget the punchline of jokes, so entertainment value is nil tonight. But I hope it does work to kind of get everybody out the door as expeditiously as possible. There are a few other people I'd like to recognize before we break for dinner. Some of our elected officials that are here tonight. And it is a very busy time of the year around the community. There's fundraisers. Dan Cahill, the city council president, is at his uncle's retirement party. But I would like to recognize those that are here tonight. My hardworking colleague on the Lynn School Committee, Mrs. Donna Capola. And a couple of Lynn Tech alums, City Council Vice President, Mr. Rick Ford. And Ward 3 City Councilor, Mr. Darren Sear. I would also like to recognize the rest of the board of directors from the Lynn Tech Alumni Association. It works so hard throughout the year under the leadership, as Jim said, of Jim Ward and the executive board. So with the rest of the members of the Lynn Tech Alumni Association's board of directors, please stand up. If anybody would like to get involved with us and help us out, it's a great group of people. We do a lot of good things. Last year, with some of the money that we raised throughout the years, we were able to contribute $10,000 to the Life Skills program at Lynn Tech to help those kids prepare themselves to moving on and living independently. This past year, we ran our second golf tournament, which was a huge success. Ran it up at Gannon and actually sold it out. Thank you to everybody that participated, sponsored, and with the money raised in this year's event, we're putting that towards, as Mr. Bontempo had said, towards upgrading the athletic facilities in the field house. So we do a lot of great work with the Alumni Association, and we'd really love to have you all involved. Thank you to everybody. I'd also like to recognize the previous Hall of Fame inductees that are here tonight. Again, a great community. Lynn Tech has a fantastic community. So with all of those that are here tonight that have been previously inducted into the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame, please stand up. And I'd like to introduce introduce our three previous Lynn Tech directors that are here with us tonight. Mr. Al Malagriffa, Mr. Bart Conlon, and Mr. James Ridley. I would now like to introduce Reverend William Simpson, who will give the invocation this evening.
As a member of the clergy of the community for many, many years, I've watched with admiration as the Lynn Tech has moved along in its own program, graduated so many people who have made a difference in our community. It is truly an honor for me to be here. Let us pray. Blessed are you, Holy Lord God, creator of our universe. Thank you so much for the wonderful life that you've given to each one of us here and all the blessings that attend us. But especially, we thank you for this moment of celebration. And we ask your blessing upon not only each one of us who attend, but especially upon those who are being so rightly honored. And now we ask that you bless the food and fellowship to its intended use, and us. Bless us to your increasing service above self. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Simpson. There are a few people that I would like to recognize that are here that have served the city in various capacities over the years. I'd like to introduce one of my former colleagues on the Lynn School Committee, Mr. Vinny Spirito, that's here tonight. And another former member of the Lynn School Committee, Mr. Frank Caraba. And former city councilor, I think one of the proudest Grampies around, Mr. Harry Capola. Okay, when I began tonight, I said that I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't tell jokes. But once in a while, I do tell stories. And many times, people come up to me and they ask why I'm so pro Lynn Tech. As everybody knows, I graduated from Lynn Tech. I graduated in 1981 from the auto body program. As many people know, I own my own auto body and auto repair business in Revere and have for quite some time. I had the opportunity to go back and teach at Tech for 14 years, probably 14 of the most amazing years I've ever had in my profession. And I want to tell you how that began in one of the people that was most prominent in making that happen. When I went to Tech, I got into auto body because my mother, God bless her, wasn't the best driver around. And she used to crash the car quite frequently, and I'd hear my father, even back then, talk about how much it cost. I'd say, wow, that's for me. But once I got in, as a teenager, I had a little bit of experience, took a few flying lessons, and was intrigued in air control towers. So I decided my junior year I wanted to be an air traffic controller. Took my SATs, applied to a school, got accepted, and all, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to go to, at the time, it was Daniel Webster College in New Hampshire, and become an air traffic controller. My senior year, Miss Judy Josephs, who I wish was here tonight, but couldn't be here because she's ill. Her husband Barry is here in her place. She got so many people jobs in their senior years, co-op jobs. She got me a job because I said I really didn't need a job in a body shop. She got me a job in an electronics company in Wakefield, spray painting parts. Now, my teachers at the time weren't thrilled with the fact that I wasn't in a body shop, but I was painting parts, and I said, guys, I'm never going to do this. I'm a senior in high school in auto body, and I'm telling my teachers I am never going to do this. Turn of the year, around January or so, my father comes to me, and he was a little bit older, and he was retiring around the time I was graduating high school. He worked at the GE, and he said, you know, I'm retiring in June, and going to be on a fixed income, and I'm not going to be able to help you out with school. So realizing that I wasn't going to be able to do it myself, I thought my plan B is auto body. So I went up to the guidance office at Tech, banged on Judy Joseph's door, and I said, I need a job in a body shop. And she sat me down, and she opened up the yellow pages, and she started calling body shops down the line until she got me a job in what was, at the time, the Jeep Volkswagen dealership on Boston Street. So 2 years after that, I found myself working for myself, started my own company at 19. And because of the start and foundation of skills that I gained at Lynn Tech, for the tenacity of Judy Joseph's opening that door for me in my first job, I've had a very successful, thriving, growing company for the past 32 years, and I owe Lynn Tech and Judy Joseph's for everything that I've been able to accomplish. So just a show of hands by the people in the room, Lynn Tech grads, how many people in this room started their careers in a job where the door was opened by Judy Joseph's or the placement counselors? I don't think there's a person in this room that can have their car worked on, their house worked on, have something built. Now you see them working in hospitals and on, that are graduates of Lynn Tech. And I'm extremely proud to be a graduate of Lynn Tech. So that's my story. That's my song and dance, so no more of that. I would now like to offer extended greetings from our legislative delegation that couldn't be here tonight. Senator Tom McGee. And I will read a citation that the senator has offered to every inductee tonight. Every inductee tonight with their plaque, with their medal, will be awarded a citation from the senator's office, Representative Bob Fennell's office, the City Council, and Mayor Kennedy. This is from Senator McGee. Official citation, be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to those being inducted in the 2014 Lynn Tech High School Hall of Fame. Senate President Therese Murray and Senator Thomas McGee. Representative Bob Fennell stopped by my house this afternoon and dropped off citations, and also sends his greetings and regrets for not being able to attend tonight, as do Representative Laurie Ehrlich, Representative Wong, and Representative-elect Brendan Crichton. This is from Representative Fennell. Be it hereby known that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations in recognition to your inductions into the 2014 Lynn Vocational and Technical Institute Hall of Fame. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Signed, Robert DeLeo, Speaker of the House, and Robert Fennell, State Representative. I would now like to call up two members of the City Council that are here tonight. Council Vice President Rick Ford and Ward 3 Councilor Darren Sear, who will offer their welcome from the Lynn City Council.
Good evening, and congratulations to all the inductees. I'm a proud graduate, 1975 from Lynn Tech, and I'm going to be brief, but I couldn't help but pick up on Jim Ridley's comment that Al Malagriffa to this day still comes in, gives me a noogie cooking breakfast, and punches me in the stomach. So he's something else. We love you, Mal. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague and Councilman Sear to read the...
Before I read it, I just want to say it's an honor to be here tonight. I graduated with Jimmy Ward. He's a great football player. I also graduated with Rich Feiger, and it's really unbelievable honor to be up here because my father-in-law is being inducted tonight into the Hall of Fame. Iggy, John Dorgan, was a great man. On behalf of the Lynn City Council, the Lynn City Council acknowledges your accomplishments, dedication to the community, and overall excellence. You have served as an inspiration for all to follow. On behalf of our grateful and proud city, we bestow this official citation.
And finally, bringing the good wishes of the Mayor, Judith Flanagan Kennedy, who is also the chairperson of the Lynn School Committee, my colleague, Donna Capola.
Good evening. The mayor sends her congratulations and regrets that she could not be here to all of the inductees. But it's the City of Lynn Office of the Mayor, official citation. Be it known to all who read these presents that the Honorable Judith Flanagan Kennedy, Mayor of the great city of Lynn, hereby extends her sincerest congratulations in recognition of your induction into the Lynn Vocational and Technical Institute's Hall of Fame Class of 2014. Signed November 15, 2014. Congratulations, inductees.
So without further ado, the reason we're all here tonight, to honor our 10 inductees. So we will begin. Lynn Merman was a member of the class of 1981. Unfortunately, due to health concerns, Lynn could not be here tonight to accept his award. He lives in Florida and extends his great wishes to everyone here tonight, and congratulations to all the inductees. I would like to call up Mr. Ralph Jameson, former LVTI faculty member, member of the Board of Directors, and Lynn Merman's instructor in the Metal Fab program at Tech. Ralph.
I too would like to congratulate all the nominees tonight. It's my pleasure to represent one of my former students, Lynn Merman. Lynn, at age 52, is married to a wonderful woman named Debbie. They have 4 sons, Sean, Jacob, Eric, and Joshua. Lynn graduated from Lynn Vocational in 1981. He joined the Air Force, and with the skills he required in sheet metal, welding, and blueprint reading, he became an aircraft mechanic. Eventually, he was licensed as an A&E mechanic. That's airplane and engine. Now, working on aircraft, you can't just have one license. You have to have both, because the firewall separates the engine, if it's a single engine aircraft, from the rest of the airplane. So running instruments or anything, you have to be certified in both areas. That's quite a deal. After he was certified as a mechanic, he served 24 years in the Air Force. During those years, he traveled extensively while serving our country, including places in the Middle East, like the Persian Gulf, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. During the attack of September 11th, they were mobilized to counter any additional attacks by flying out of Langley Air Base to cover Washington, D.C. After serving our country for 24 years, Lynn was honorably discharged as a disabled E6 Tech veteran. Lynn did not expound on his disability, and I did not pursue it. Lynn got a job working in the aircraft industry as a government employee until his retirement. He has a very comfortable home in Florida City, Florida, where he joined the Masons and is very active in charitable events as a master Mason. It is no secret that the Masons do many great things through the Shriners. Due to his mother's illness, he cannot attend the induction ceremony, but he asked me to tell you how honored and grateful he is to be recognized in this way. He thanks you for putting him in the Lynn Vocational Technical Institute Hall of Fame. His family is very proud of him, and they thank you as well. Lynn has every intention of coming to Lynn to visit LVTI. He loves the school and brags about it to his friends every chance he gets. I'm proud of Lynn's accomplishments as a disabled veteran, family man, community-involved member of the Masons, and a former student of mine. Congratulations, Lynn, and God bless you and your family. Thank you.
I'd also like to mention that Lynn, as a member of the class of '81, probably one of the best classes in Lynn Tech, right? Right, Barry McCall, Diana, Artie Badger, Marty Emerald. We're well represented here tonight. So, I got the microphone, I can do that. Our next inductee, unfortunately, also could not be here tonight. He called us earlier in the week and sent his regrets as he was planning to come with his family and wasn't able to, and that's Robert Kuzo. Robert graduated from Tech in '76 in the electronics program, went on to Northeastern University in the electrical engineering program, and went right to work for Raytheon, where he remains today, working on missile defense systems, protecting all of us and the country. And I can't tell you how many different Lynn Tech grads have gone off to work in different military defense companies around the country that keep us protected each and every day. So I'll accept this award on Mr. Kuzo's behalf and present it to him later. Thank you. The next inductee, we all wish could be here with us today. I believe he's the first inductee that we've inducted posthumously, and I would like to call up two good friends of his, of Richie Vargas, who are both Lynn Tech grads, father and son, John Walsh and Jay Walsh.
Just want to say that it's an honor for me and my father both to be here tonight, to be speaking about a good friend of ours. I think he was a good friend of the city's also and the people of the city, Rich Viga. Rich Viga graduated from Lynn Tech from the painting and decorating department back in 1978, where he moved on to General Electric Company for a few years, where I work and still hear stories about Richie. He ended up owning his own rubbish and trash removal business, which was very successful in the city. At that time, I think the most thing he's probably most recognized for was starting the Lynn Christmas Parade, which we all enjoy on Christmas Eve. He really, yep. He seems that he touched the hearts of everybody in a lot of different ways, but especially on the Christmas Eve parade, which we like to continue, in his memory every year. He passed away in 2013, so we'd like to ask his sister, Jeannie Viga Epstein, to come on up and accept the award for him.
Thank you.
And it's great to see that the Walsh family and everyone at John's Oil has continued in Richie's footsteps and make the parade bigger and bigger every year for everybody to enjoy. Thank you. Our next inductee is Sandra Lewis, who has quite a crowd here tonight. Sandra's a pom-poms and all. Let's hear it from the Lynn Chamber. Everybody here for Sandra? And this guy was prepared. So I'd like to introduce Lynn Tech teacher, athletic director, Joe Skeetis, to introduce Sandra Lewis.
Thank you, Rick. This summer we had a dinner down in West Lynn for all the inductees. So I got to talk to Sandra that night, and Ron Uroso was there. So after we talked for a little while, everybody sat down for dinner. Sandra looked over at me with Ron and said, Mr. Skeetis, we were talking about when you used to referee our basketball games and how awful you were during those games. I said, well, thank you very much, girls. I said, I know I was terrible. That's why I was refereeing your games. And then Sandra found out that someone had to induct her in here and introduce her, and she asked me, and I'll be honest with you, in my 25 years of working at Lynn Tech, it's one of my greatest honors, and it's a pleasure to be doing this evening. So when I started to think about my speech and to introduce her tonight, I had to think, is she Hall of Fame material? So I went back to 9th and 10th grade, and I started thinking about Sandra, and I remember her coming into the culinary shop where I worked, and her and Patricia trying to steal the chocolate chip cookies from me. And I remember her walking around in her auto body jumpsuit with her glasses up on top of her head and walking the corridors, and I'm saying, is she Hall of Fame material? And then during those basketball games, it took her about 10 games to understand that basketball was not a full contact sport. But the thing is, when you spoke to her, especially the older she got in the 11th and 12th grade, you could see that Sandra had something special. The way she looked at you in the eye, her smile, her charm, her grace, you could just tell, especially being in education, that she had something special. And you just knew that she was going to do something wonderful, and she was destined to do well. After graduation, it was about a year before I saw Sandra. I think she either came back to visit or we ran into each other somewhere. And I asked what she was doing, and she gave me a brief synopsis. And she told me that she had she started dating Eddie Lewis. Eddie was one of my students in culinary arts for 3 years, and I coached him in football for 4 years. And it's one of the few times over the years when I saw a match from the high school that I said, actually, that is absolutely a perfect couple. I mean, just perfect, and I congratulated her, and I wished her the best. Well, sure enough, a couple years later, they were married. They've been married for 10 years, have 3 beautiful children, Michaela, Liana, and Eddie Jr., who are all here tonight. I told you I'd mention you. And from there, her path led to different places, job here, job there, until she ended up at the Chamber of Commerce, where she went into work for 3 months to fill in for somebody. It was 11 years later, and she's still there. They recognized the potential that Sandra has, and that's why she's still there and doing so well. But she didn't stop there. She got involved in the Lions, the YMCA, Advisory Council, coaching her children. And if you look at all these programs that she's involved in, what do they have in common? It's about giving back to the community, caring about the community that she works in, lives in, and is raising her family in. And to me, that's very, very, very important. So you have to ask yourself, after all these years, is Sandra Baker Lewis Hall of Fame material? I believe she is, no doubt about it. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you 2014 Lynn Tech Hall of Fame inductee, Sandra Baker Lewis.
I don't really have a speech, but I do want to say I didn't get a noogie from Mel, but I definitely got smacked upside the back of my head a few times. Never told my parents because then I'd have to explain why I got hit upside the head, and I didn't want to get hit again. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
To introduce our next inductee, William Connors from the class of 1977, I'd like to introduce Mr. Frank Caraba.
Thank you, Rick. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I have the honor and privilege to introduce the next inductee to the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame, my cousin, Bill Connors. I've known Bill his entire life. Bill is a 1977 graduate of the electronics program at LVTI, and prior to his 18th birthday, he enlisted and served 4 years in the U.S. Navy, after which he worked at Raytheon and BAE. In 2006, he received his bachelor's degree in electronics from the University of Lowell. There are more interesting facts about Bill in the program, and I encourage you to read about him. Bill is a man of character, conviction, and integrity, and he has always taken care of his family. Those qualities come to Bill from two venues. First, his parents, Chuck and Joyce, and through his membership and leadership in the Boy Scouts, where Bill earned his Eagle Scout in 1977. His lead project was evaluating the city of Lynn for handicapped access in the public buildings. On behalf of his wife Ann and his daughters Caitlin and Julia, and his brother Jim, who's also a member of alumni of LVTI, his brother Bob, Charles, and his wife Catherine, and most importantly, his mother Joyce, all of whom are here this evening, I want to introduce to you the next inductee into the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame, my cousin, Bill Connors.
Doesn't come that easy.
I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the teachers at Lynn Tech that gave us all a good foundation. I want to thank my family, my mother, Joyce, my father who's not here, my wife Ann. I received my degree a little bit late in life, and I had to go to school nights while I was raising my family. And my wife jokes sometimes that maybe her name should be on my degree too, for all the work that she's done. So thank you. Thank you, my daughters, Caitlin and Julia, my brothers Bob, Jim, Charlie, and his wife Catherine, my Aunt Barbara, and Frank's wife Cindy. Thank you for being here. So one thing I want to say is I'm an engineer at Raytheon. I used to be at Raytheon, now I'm at BAE Systems, and I interview a lot of new engineers every day, and it's the enthusiasm that they come in, where they get their foundation from this school, Lynn Tech. They come in with wacky ideas, but it's that wacky ideas that lead us in this innovation in electronics, making things smaller, and like iPhones and cell phones and laptops. And so it's Lynn Tech and the good teachers that are here that have, you know, made our foundation here for these engineers and what I am today. So I think that's all. Thank you. And thank you for all the directors and the staff members, and let's get all the names. So that put all this together. Diana and Jim Wood and James Ridley and Paul Crowley, who isn't here. Thank you for all the board of directors for setting this up so that we could do this for the Hall of Famers. And I am honored to be now on the wall. Thank you.
The next inductee is from the class of 1967. He's one of those, that's why we say Lynn Trade, Lynn Tech. He's from the Lynn Trade days. So to introduce Mr. Robert McLaughlin, I'd like to introduce Joan LeBlanc.
Tonight, I have the pleasure of presenting the Alumni Award to Bob McLaughlin. Bob and I have worked together for over a decade. He's a volunteer board member at the Saugus River Watershed Council, where I work. After graduating from Lynn Tech in 1967, Bob served in the military and then settled down in the town of Wakefield with his wife Terry, hi Terry, where they raised 3 daughters and a son. And for several decades, he worked as an independent electrician installing complex lighting and electrical systems for high-end properties in Boston, on the Cape, and throughout the state. And for some people, running a successful business and having a wonderful family would be enough. But that's not the full story that we want to tell about Bob tonight. And by the time I'm finished with my comments, I think that you'll agree that since graduating from Lynn Tech, Bob has become something of a modern-day Renaissance man. Hope you don't mind that reference, Bob. While he may not have the artistic ability of Da Vinci, although I did see a picture he did at a paint night recently, so that may change. He clearly has a wide variety of interests and has proven his worth in many diverse fields. In addition to being a family man, a talented electrician, Bob is also an accomplished community leader, a historian, an environmental advocate, and an author. As a community leader, Bob's never afraid to take a stand for what he believes in. In addition to serving on the Wakefield Planning Board and chairing the Wakefield Master Planning Committee, Bob has led several grassroots efforts to protect historic resources and to promote public access to Lake Quannapowitt and throughout the town of Wakefield. Thanks to his leadership, a major lakefront developer was required to add public access walkways all along their property and to donate over $100,000 to the Friends of Lake Quannapowitt, which has served to help do water quality monitoring in the lake. Bob was also at the forefront of a $1 million effort to transform a former restaurant site at the head of Lake Quannapowitt. Now that site is a beautiful public park that provides a scenic gateway to the town of Wakefield, as well as some beautiful views extending across the lake. This year, Bob's been involved in a local campaign to downsize a development proposed in downtown Wakefield, and with the goal of which is to preserve the character of that area and also to preserve the historic 1784 house. Bob's work on these community-based initiatives has required countless volunteer hours, writing letters to local newspapers, educating residents, gathering signatures for petitions, as I always hear in the rain. It's always raining or snowing whenever that happens. And making many, many presentations at public meetings. Thanks to his efforts, the entire perimeter of Lake Quannapowitt is available today for everyone to enjoy this fantastic resource. How many people here have walked around the lake? So, thank you, Bob. On the environmental front, Bob has always been a very active volunteer with the Saugus River Watershed Council. He's been working with us for over a decade in his spare time. His efforts with our group have helped to protect and restore natural resources in the watershed and to promote environmental education for youth. He's also helped organize many great events, such as a big children's festival at the Ironworks that draws hundreds of families every year, and a big River Night fundraiser. I don't know how he finds the time, but somehow Bob has also managed to become a published author and a respected local historian. You see what I mean about the whole Renaissance thing? So since 2000, Bob's been researching about Pleasure Island. Wherever he goes, he talks about it. He already made friends with the woman at our table and established that she has been to Pleasure Island. He's co-founder and president of the Friends of Pleasure Island, which was established to collect images, film, oral history, and artifacts related to the park, which operated in Wakefield from 1959 to 1969. Bob has hosted countless public walking tours, multimedia presentations, and frankly, if we want to spend more time tonight, I'm sure he'd be happy to come up here and give a slideshow or a song and dance about it. But this park was often called the Disneyland of the East. He's published 3 books. I'm here to prove it. I have them right here. Number 1, Pleasure Island, Historic Images and Some Really Fun Facts. This was published in 2009. 2010, Freedom Land. This book features, I guess this is the Disneyland of New York. And then finally, Pleasure Island Revisited. It's additional research and beautiful colored photos. It just came out this summer. No, that's not enough. He has 2 more books on the way. This spring, they'll have a new edition on Freedom Land, and in 2016, a book about Magic Mountain. So before we call Bob up to accept his award, I'd like to share a quote attributed to one of the most well-known Renaissance men, Leonardo da Vinci. He said, or at least they say he said, "Life is pretty simple. You do some stuff, most fails, some works. You do more of whatever works. If it works big, others quickly copy it. Then you do something else. The trick is in the doing something else." So I, for one, am thankful that Bob McLaughlin has always been willing to go the extra mile to do something else. He's truly made his community a better place, and I very much look forward to seeing what he'll do next. Bob?
Boy, I owe her something now, huh? Thank you, Joan. And if anybody ever wants to get involved with a really great group, as I did, Saugus River Watershed Council is just terrific. They've done such a great job and continue to. I want to thank everybody who put this program on. I want to thank all the, all my fellow inductees. And more importantly, I really want to introduce and get my buddy to stand up over there. Mr. Al Malagriffin, can you stand up for a second? There he is. A couple of years ago, one of my brothers who graduated from Lynn Trade back in 1962 62. I still call it Lynn Trade. I know it's Lynn Tech. But anyway, one of my brothers graduated in 62, and he had a little reunion over in Saugus, over at the Prince of Pizza for fellow graduates from 62 going backwards to the beginning of the trade. Anyway, I heard in the background, I hear this guy going, McLaughlin, McLaughlin! And I turn around, and there's Mr. Mallett Brickner. I hadn't seen him since 1967, since I graduated. And he says, I need your resume. And I says, I don't have a resume. I've never written a resume. And so for 2 years, Al has been hounding me to get a resume to me. And finally, it was right down to the wire. It was just within a couple of days of when they were due. And my daughter Tracy over here helped me put a resume together. And I'm so thrilled to be a recipient of this award. But I couldn't have done it without my teachers at Lynn Tech. I'm telling you right now, we had the best teachers. We never knew it at the time, but we really did. And they just, my entire career started, with that high school. And, and then, the rest is history, as we say. And I can't thank my wife, Terry. We met each other 40 years ago. And now we have 4 kids and 4 grandchildren. And, and I'm so proud to have graduated this school. Thank you very much.
It's with great pride that I get to mention the next inductee's name. Mr. James Ward has been instrumental to the Lynn Tech Alumni Association since he took over as president. The work that he's put into this group is immeasurable. He's helped us reach new heights in what we've been able to do and give back to the school. So to call up Mr. Ward, I'd like to call up Mr. Ward's son, James Ward Jr.
It is now my privilege to introduce the next inductee, Jim Ward. A lifelong Lynn resident, he got his start in the field of computers at Lynn Tech, enrolling in their data processing program. Since that time, he's achieved numerous certifications and awards focusing on the field of disaster recovery. His 36-plus years working in the field and gaining technical abilities have provided him with superior expertise in this field. To go along with all his professional accolades, Jim has also achieved much personal success. He's always been the type of person to get involve himself with what's going on in his community. Whether it was coaching a youth sports team or organizing an event, he's continually risen to the task of helping others achieve more. His work with the Lynn Tech Alumni Association is proof of that commitment. Drawing upon those years of knowledge and experience in the field, and his desire to watch others succeed, Jim has not forgotten where he came from. His efforts is to ensure that others are afforded the same opportunities as he was, as well as grow the program and make certain that it stays with the ever-changing demands in the field of computers. All his work is very commendable and very deserving of this nomination. It is with great pride that I introduce a man that has always been a great role model to me and given me plenty of inspiration and encouragement to succeed in my life. Our next speaker, my father, Jim Wood.
Thank you. Congratulations to the rest of the 2014 candidates. I'm extremely honored to accept this extraordinary position and have my picture on the wall with all those people you saw stand up a little while ago. It's an honor. I'd like to thank the entire Hall of Fame committee for all the work they've done to put this night together, as well as the entire LBTI Alumni Association. It's a great group. I'm just honored to be part of it. There's so many great people on that board, and we get a lot of things accomplished to get things put back into the school, as you've heard from everybody here. I'd like to thank everybody that's ever been involved in tech, going from the janitors that are walking down the hall to the coaches. Every one of them has been inspirational in my life. I want to tell a story about being involved in Lynn Youth Hockey. I mean, the reason I got back involved in Lynn Youth Hockey is because I played Lynn Youth Hockey my whole life and I never paid a penny. I remember going to my mother and saying, I'm going to play youth. And she's like, oh, we can't afford that. And, because of one gentleman, I ended up playing youth hockey and somebody sponsored me for the entire. So I want to put back into all the community and things that I got out of it. The one thing I did leave out of my bio was my family. My professional accomplishments and everything. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm one of 12 children, and my mother and father right over there. I grew up right across the street from the Dorgans. My wife is a 1979 graduate of Lynn Tech. We've been married for 34 years now. We have 3 children. My son James that you just met, my daughter Jillian, and my son Jared. And I also have 3 grandchildren, one of which is Peyton, who's been over there talking the whole time waiting for me to come up. So, you know, there's one last thing I want to say, and I want to quote a George Harrison song, What is Life? And it's, where would I be without you by my side? No. All right, enough of my babbling. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, this next inductee has quite an entourage with him this evening. Well, I don't see any pom-poms like the chamber has. I'm sure you can match them in sound. So let's hear it from the Dorgans. And to present our next inductee, I'd like to call up David Clark.
Good evening. And just let me say thank you first to Rick and everybody that put on this wonderful time tonight. It's absolutely fantastic. Thanks to the Lynn Tech Alumni Association for a wonderful night. Tonight I have the honor of introducing my father-in-law, John Iggy Dorgan, on the occasion of his induction into the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame. But tonight I'm not just representing his family. I'm also representing the United States Department of Defense, because in addition to being a distinguished alumnus, a loving father, husband, brother, grandfather, great-grandfather, and dear friend to all of you, he is also a proud veteran of the United States Navy. So Iggy belongs not only to his devoted family and alma mater, but also to the city of Lynn and to a grateful nation. Good. That's for you. So from the Pentagon, I bring greetings and congratulations to you on this important night. And he's not going to stand up here and talk a lot tonight because he's a humble guy and he's not inclined to make speeches or talk about himself or seek public recognition. So I want him to relax tonight and enjoy this, and I'll talk about him tonight. That's my job. Great people, the ones who society chooses to recognize and remember, are oftentimes captains of industry, leaders of government, patrons of the arts. Some build skyscrapers, financial institutions, monuments, bridges. John Dorgan built a family, a wonderful, talented, and diverse family. And in doing so, he challenged the traditional notion of what it is to be great. While his professional accomplishments are noteworthy, he's a U.S. Navy veteran, years of faithful service at the Boston Navy Yard, and later at General Electric as a machinist, which he's very proud of. His true credentials, his crowning achievement, his legacy, if you will, is his family. And what a family. Together, he and his beautiful wife, Mary, of 63 years, raised 11 children, all D's, by the way: Denise, Debbie, Diane, Dennis, Darlene, Donna, Dawn, Dale, David, Danny, and Deirdre. Up there because on his board list, the next names were Durwood, Dilbert, and Dumbledore. So it was good. Cut it off. And from this extended family has come a generation of achievers and contributors. A mayor, a city councilman, senior executives, nurses, a doctor, a dentist, several soldiers, a sailor and a Marine, teachers, a fireman, and the list goes on. There's not enough time to take it all. all touched and influenced by John. In essence, Iggy is a modern-day Noah. If there's ever another flood, look no further than the Dorgan clan to restart society as we get all the bases covered. John is universally loved and admired in this town. Everyone who knows him loves him, and those who don't know him wish they did. His joy and spirit are infectious, and wherever he goes, and that includes every corner of the city, he lights up those around him. This is a great gift that we all wish we had ourselves, and one that I'm certain has contributed to his long and happy life. Long after the book is closed on John Dorgan, his legacy will live on. Long after those skyscrapers, monuments, and bridges have turned to dust, his children and his children's children will live on. The ones he raised and nurtured and instilled values of love, compassion, and service to one's country and to others, those will live on. In the words of young George Bailey in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, Iggy, you're the biggest man in town. And we all love you and are proud of you. So let me introduce the next honoree to the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame, John Iggy Dorgan.
I'd like to stay in the back. You said everything. All I want to say is I want to thank whoever nominated me, the committee that eventually put me here. I'm shaking inside. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, my family, my wife, inductees. Thank you.
Our next inductee is a member of the Lynn School Department. He graduated Tech, did great things in sports, came back and coached at Tech, and is now working in the Lynn School Department. He's working at Thurgood Marshall Middle School. He continues to work in the city. I'd like to introduce former Lynn Tech Director, Mr. Bob Conlon, to present Ronnie Collins.
Good evening, and congratulations to our new class of inductees. All of you are very deserving of this award. And having taught at Tech, I was very lucky to teach there for 32 years. And nights like this are fantastic to be able to honor some of our very, very successful graduates. Anybody that's gone to the school before and knows people that graduated that you think should be honored in a future time, please get a resume and get it into us. We'd like to recognize people that have become very, very successful. It makes us feel good. It's an honor and a privilege to introduce our next inductee, Rania Ioannidis Caldwell. I've had the pleasure of knowing Rania for 20 years since I met her when she was a student in my grade 9 algebra class. She immediately impressed me with her work habits, effort, and determination. Math was not her best subject though, and she constantly stayed after school for extra help while juggling her time around basketball or softball practice. And also, on a side note too, the basketball team had a few outstanding years then when she and Sandra Baker, who were a year apart in school, were leading them into the tournament, so they did very well together. Rania solved that infamous concept of solving for X and mastered it so well that she was exempt from the required introductory math class when she passed her college math entrance exam with flying colors. My wife Diane was also fortunate to have Rania in her English class and strongly recommended her for honors English, and she continued her education by getting a bachelor's and master's degree in English and is now pursuing her doctorate. Diane and I have enjoyed watching Rania as she has advanced her career in teaching, coaching, and is now a program specialist for the Lynn Public Schools Language Support Office. And she's also a professional development instructor and presenter for the Lynn schools. I would like to quote Rania on one of life's lessons that she has learned. Her quote, "Don't settle for what's easy. The most challenging experiences are often the most rewarding." 2014 has been a great year for Rania as she and her husband Son welcomed their first child, a baby girl, Ayla, to their family in January. I proudly present to you for induction into the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame, Rania Ioannidis Caldwell.
Thank you, Mr. Conlon. Every day, I'm grateful to work in the school system that I'm a product of. My experience at Lynn Tech is a constant reminder of how much school can make a positive impact in a child's life. Whether I was in class, playing sports, or roaming the halls, right, Mrs. Conlon? Yes. I always had teachers, coaches, guidance counselors, a principal who would punch me in the arm, and even secretaries, Ms. Corey, who challenged me, supported me, and from time to time gave me a kick in the butt. Last month, my former basketball coach, John Crowley, called to congratulate me on my induction to the Hall of Fame. And like he has since I was a sophomore, gave me typical Crowley advice. He said, "Sweetheart, the shorter the speech, the louder the applause." So, to wrap up, I'd just like to end with one of my favorite quotes from the late Maya Angelou, who said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And Lynn Tech has always made me feel like family." Thank you very much for this.
Tonight's final inductee, Mr. Tom Newhall, is somebody that I first met when he was still in high school at Lynn Tech, and this was long before I was back there teaching. We did a lot of business repairing the cars for Solomini Funeral Home, and even back then, Tom knew what he wanted to do. In high school, started out there just cleaning cars. Always knowing what he wanted to do, always driven, has always given back to the community. It's an honor to call up Sally Cuff to present Tom Newhall.
Good evening, everyone. Last but not least is someone very special to us. I've known Tom Newhall since he was 15, and he did a wonderful job at washing all the cars, just as he does with everything else he tries to accomplish. It's with great pride and pleasure that I am here to introduce Thomas Christopher Newhall to be inducted into the 2014 Hall of Fame. Tom grew up with his wonderful family, 2 sisters and a brother, on Wyman Street in Lynn. He went to Sacred Heart School, as you can read in the booklet, and on to the Tech, and very proudly graduated from there and went to the New England Institute as part of Alumni College. He loves a challenge. If it's hard, that makes it even more challenge to him. He has many gifts, and few people realize that he himself was a challenge at one point in time. I'm looking out at his mom and dad because they know I'm going to say. At any rate, few people do know that in elementary school, he was determined to be incorrigible. And that's a name from way back if someone wasn't doing what they should. His parents were at their wits' end, as was the administration. One time when they were called to the office, his mother told him that if he didn't change his ways, he'd have to live with the consequences. And John thought for a minute, and he said, "Do they have a pool?" Now that, as we can guess, is not true at all. That was one of Father Mike Ferraro's famous jokes. I can't remember jokes, but that one has always stuck with me. And it seemed appropriate to put it in right now. So for 20 years, and you know, that's quite a while, Tom led the Cuffs Crusaders every year at the North Shore Council Walk. And then had a cookout afterwards over in Salem Willows, where he was the chef. His community service includes many things, too many to mention here, but Wyoming Lions Club is one of them, and he's participated in many of the activities. The Boys and Girls Club, he is on the board there, and he has done good things in appreciation for the Lynn Police and Fire Department. He doesn't seek credit for his many acts of kindness and the person that he was his mentor worked the same way, not to get credit for everything you do. No one realizes, just a couple of people, that when the woman on Eastern Avenue was knocked down and her pocketbook was stolen, John didn't say a word, but he went out and he replaced the pocketbook and put something in it, wrapped it up, and had somebody deliver it to her house. This is just an example of the many things that he does, and just as his mentor did, quietly. He's dedicated to helping people in their time of need at the Cuff McGinn Funeral Home. He'll leave no stone unturned to serve our families. Families first is what Walter always told them, and he and the directors and staff at the funeral home operate in the same way. Now you'll notice that I didn't mention anything about his immediate family yet, but the nucleus of his life is his, in addition to his parents and his in-laws, Barbara and Bessie, his family is the center of his life. His wife, Robin, he has 3 daughters, Tegan Irene, Bridget Joan, and Riley Kate. He lives for all of them. And what a dad he is. Anything that they need or want, they call him, and many times he'll say, "Oh, there's a few kids coming over tonight and we'd like to have a cookout." I told them they could all come here, and that's the way it's been. They're always welcomed at the home. So I think that gives a lot of credit as well. So at this time, I'm very, very pleased, proud, and honored to recognize Thomas Newhall to be inducted into the 2014 Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Sally. Sometimes I think she tries to make a good point, but I knew where I was going all those years. I do have to challenge Mr. Starboard on a few things. I worked at Cuff McGinn, that's all really. Yeah. The class was in 1990, that's probably one of the greatest classes. I know, I was still a young kid then. And I will say the teachers were phenomenal. To mention a few tonight, Mr. Charlie Dolan, Mrs. Conlon's here tonight, Bob Conlon, and Al Malagrifa. Mel was our principal at the time, or director.
I was never a victim of a punch or a noogie. In our young group, Mel would say things like, "Are you going to class?" "Yeah, we're going to class." And then when you turn around, after Brothers Deli. You know, some highlights at Tech: Brothers Deli, Skip and Jim, running from Ron Ackerman. But these are a group of people, these teachers, who did really mold me and send me in special ways and did different things. I got a few quotes from a few of my teachers. It was the beginning of my senior year when I went to Charlie Dolan, and I said, "Mr. Dolan, I have an opportunity to go to the funeral home and work. And you think you could just sign off saying I'm doing automotive work or something?" He said, "I'm not going to sign off. I'm going to graciously let you go as long as you are not a mechanic." So I learned real fast. Teachers, they teach you a lot of what they might know or what they think you should know. And then there are those teachers that might guide you in a way that you should follow. And they know probably a lot more than you know. And a couple years later, I saw Mr. Dolan at a funeral. And I debated about doing this, but this quote I carry with me every day. Saw Mr. Dolan after the funeral. Put his hand on my shoulder. He says, "Tom, you would have made a dog shit mechanic." But you're a great field director. One of my other highlights of Lynn Tech was Mrs. Conlon's English class. It was colorful. Crowley would show up and walk around, and Mrs. Conlon gave me a nice quote. She says, "Isn't this special? You're marrying a special ed teacher." I go, "Yeah, what do you think?" She says, "It's very appropriate." And I have to tell you, to this day, I'm still really not sure what she meant. The highlight of my high school years was math. Mr. Bart Conlon was one of the greatest algebra teachers. Probably one of the fewer A's I got over the 4 years, but I really think that whole alphabet, you know, F really is more like fantastic. Mr. Conlon taught us many things other than algebra. He challenged 3 students, myself, Lisa Hubner, and Jeff Roach, to belly up to the desk and say, "Who's going to have the best grade in this class?" And it's not all about the grade. Put some money on the table. Let's see who does it. I'll match whatever you do. Well, I'm proud to say I did win that year. So through the years, I've had a lot of love and support. Walter Cuff was very instrumental in my career. My mom and dad, they enrolled me in mortuary science, and I said it was not my call. I was good with being an apprentice the rest of my life. But Walter Cuff said, "You got to make something of yourself." And I looked back at him and I said, "I got to tell you, Walter, this whole working in this mortuary school and these exams, this is hell." And he said very few words, but they were powerful. Just get it done. I'm grateful for the support I received from Walter Cuff and the opportunity and support he gave me to become the greatest funeral director in Balmer on the North Shore. I really owe so much of my success to my beautiful wife. She stuck beside me through this whole thing. As Sally said, I have 3 beautiful daughters. She had a great fluffy story about how much they love me and I love them. But the truth is that the fullness of my heart and the emptiness of my wallet. Vicky, you gotta feel that pain. I have the greatest support from the staff and the management team that's worked with us today. And I'm grateful to be here tonight and a proud member and graduate of Lynn Tech. In closing, I just want to say these one words, and I'd like to send them out in honor of Mr. Dolan. I'm thankful for 2 things, my cell phone and AAA.
And one more thing about Tom, if you ever get an invitation to play in a golf tournament run by Tom Newhall, grab your clubs. So the evening's not over, but I would like to say that is it for the inductees into the 2014 Lynn Tech Hall of Fame. I would like to congratulate each and every one of our inductees tonight. I think the experience of everybody that was inducted tonight really tells the story of what a great, diverse school Lynn Tech truly is. Now I'd like to mention a couple of things that were not on the agenda tonight. We have a couple of awards that we'd like to give out to some very special people, people that are special to us. The first one, I would like to call up Mike Alaponis Jr. to present.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be up here to present something to my father, my co-worker, myself 35 years, and my father 45 years in the same company. I can tell you some stories, a lot of stories about us working together. My father would spend a lot of time every year purchasing the toolboxes for all the different shops for the kids at graduation time. He very much enjoyed doing that. It was a lot of work, and it meant a lot to him. But Lynn Tech, I'm a techie, he's a techie. He very much cares about that school in a big way, so we have a little something for him tonight that we make him feel pretty good. Come on, Mike, come on up. Keep this short, it's getting late, but I'm so excited to be here. I know nothing about this. I walked in and saw my grandchildren here tonight, and right off the bat, I thought, oh my God, something's happening. Well, just very quickly, I came to Lynn Trade when I was 14, weighed about 95 pounds, walked in the door and said, oh my God, what my parents do to me. This place was up on an Essex Street, it was unbelievable. Well, 2 years later, 3 years later, I graduated in 1960. I had the best teachers in the whole city of Lynn. These people gave me my foundation to do what I've done for the last 50 years. And I gotta say, this school, the new school, it's unbelievable. You'll always need a plumber. You'll always need a carpenter. You'll always need an electrician. And we need machines or something terrible, because some of the work from China is starting to come back. But I'm a very, very, very fortunate person. I've been with the Lynn Tech alumni, 1988, 1989, Mr. Melvin Griffin. He didn't give me a cookie, but he tapped me on the shoulder. He said, hey, Mike, we got to get an alumni going. I won an alumni for this school before I retired. And he got together 4 or 5, about 8 of us. Judy Joseph, Mel, Ron Toby, who passed away, Ron Beckett, and we started the organization. To make a long story very short, Otto Moulton, who owns Fairview Machine, gave us $1,000 to start this off. And since then, 25 years later, the alumni is 25 years old. I was the treasurer for about 17 years. I'm still on the board. But I have to tell you, there's nobody like Mr. Melvin Griffin. There's nobody like Bart Conlon. These people live this school to the best. And I want to say, Mel, Bart, you guys are the best. last but not least, as we all know, behind every successful man is a wonderful woman. We have 3 wonderful children and 5 grandchildren, and thank you very much.
And I neglected to mention Mike Alaconis Jr. as a member of the wonderful class of '81 as well. One thing, and Mike Jr. touched on a little bit, the work that Mike Sr. does at graduation time with those tool awards. He worked so hard with the apprentice program, and we give away $4,000 in tools to the top kids in most of the shops, the construction and the metal trade shops. And they go such a long way to getting these kids their starts in their career. All of those trades require $20,000+ in tools for these kids to get going. And that's a great start, through the hard work that Mike Alaconis puts in year and year out. So Mike, thanks. We have one more special award to give away tonight before we conclude the evening. And I'd like to call up Mr. Bach Conlon and Mr. James Ridley, former directors of LBTI.
Thank you. And without further ado, Mal, stand up and make your way up front, please. But if you look at his license plate, you know where he's coming from. LBTI on his license plate. I want you to match your best buddy.
I will be very brief. Everybody's waving the flag at me, but we would not have this evening tonight if it were people who started this at the beginning of 1985. Mr. Jimmy Stilligan of Stilligan Electric, Ron Beckett of Ron Beckett Agency, Ron Noel from Tool Technology, Mike Alaconis from Essex Engineering, and Dr. Judy Josephs. Without these people, we would not all be here this evening because they're the ones who started the alumni movement back in 1985. So they deserve as much credit as I do. I want to thank Sean Donnie, who are back from the cable TV. This will be on cable TV and Lynn, and Mr. Huddy from the TV and television program, Lynn Tech. I want to just leave one saying as I leave, because someone mentioned something to me, what can they do? I'm 81 years old, and the good part of living that I'm quoting Kurt Douglas is giving. So all you Hall of Famers and people in the Hall of Fame, give something back to the school like we all have. Put your time in. Anything you can do to help the school. We're there the first Monday of every month. We have if you come to our meeting, it lasts an hour, and we have a dictator in the corner here. It lasts an hour. And we have a golf tournament every year. There are people on here who already talked to tonight to get their reservation for the next one, because I'm proud of this group, and everybody here, congratulations to you. So